Talking Texas Longhorns 2027 recruiting here on Orange Bloods Live. Alex Dunlap and Cody Carpentier are here with you, and all the hoopla leading up into the Super Bowl last week, Cody, and all the kind of news around the team as we prepare to get ready to head to the NFL Combine and have wall-to-wall coverage for you guys of the Longhorns there, and also some of the other SEC players, the scuttlebutt, the news that we'll be able to pick up there in Indy. Just kind of getting prepared for that. It kind of fell through the cracks that a guy that you and Ketchum certainly are super, super into committed to the Texas Longhorns last week. So we're gonna talk about him. First, though, let's start with the Man Eye Institute. It's where you can see life better. 1-844-WOW-2020, 844-WOW-2020. The Man Eye Institute is where you can go for all of your vision needs, whether it's glasses, whether it's contacts, whether you just need to get your eyes tested. You want to see if you're a candidate for LASIK. They have the next level LASIK that's not available anywhere but one other place in the whole United States of America. It's a beautiful campus. We love the Man Eye Institute. They are as honest as the day is long, just awesome, super people, clean facility, awesome machines, very, very comfortable. The Man Eye Institute is our presenting sponsor here on Football with Friends. We can't thank them enough for making this show possible every single day. See life better at the Man Eye Institute. Of course, we have to tell you about the Alpha Seasoning. AlphaSeasoning.com is where you go to get it. You can also get it locally at Hudson's Meat Market or at Texas Beef Traders. But if you're not in the Austin area, it's a great way to get it. Is go to AlphaSeasoning.com. It's Cody and I's own maniacal, wonderful, magical invention where we've scoured to the edges of the earth to find the exact ingredients that we wanted for the most elite, unique spice blends that you could imagine. We have the Longhorn Dust, which is available to you, and also the Elite Spice Blend, the OG. I can't believe all the repeat customers. Can't believe how you guys keep selling us out of these products. But I can tell you, as the person who runs our fulfillment, meaning the person who packs these packages up and takes them down to the UPS store, we not quite on a big enough scale yet to have little have little gremlins doing that stuff for us like they do at Amazon. But I can tell you, man, I see every order that comes in. I see all the repeat customers, and we cannot thank you guys enough. In a lot of ways, though, we kind of knew that this was going to happen. It truly, truly is a special set of spice blends. Go to alphaseasoning.com to check them out, the Longhorn Dust and the Elite Spice Blend. Of course, you can get those at Texas Beef Traders, as I mentioned, right there off Loman's Crossing and Lakeway. 620 Loman's Crossing, super easy to get to, but even if you don't want the seasoning, go there and get the beef. You get 10% off if you mention Orange Bloods. Go say hi to Darren. Go say hi to Thomas. Go get some food. They'll even cook for you. They'll give you wine and beer and like side dishes and all the rest. Texas Beef Traders, check them out. Our oldest sponsor. All right, Cody. Cameron Hall.
Can I just first say that the Man Eye Institute read for the first time today. I'm having maybe I should go to the Man Eye Institute. Like my eyes today, I'm starting to feel old. I'm only 29, but I'm starting to feel old. Like my eyes, I'm like, so just watching NFL prospects and these high school prospects, it's like I need to get some blue light glasses, or I think I might go blind in the next 6 months. So by the time we get done with all this stuff,
so
I might need to come to Man Eye Institute and get some blue light glasses.
It's a lot of prospecting work, man. It's a lot of all 22 between what we had to do in the portal, what we're continuing to have to do with the NFL draft, and then watching these players on their huddles. I know that that's not film watching, but it's certainly watching highlights, and you're certainly still staring at a computer screen. So
when you're going through 200 different clips that are 8 to 20 minutes, you're eventually trying to find the grainy little dudes running across the field. Like, is that him? Is that it? It's taxing on
dude. The deal with scouting
wrinkles up here.
The deal with scouting that a lot of people don't realize is that when you first get into it, you just want to jump right in and you just want to grind tape. But it's like what Byron always used to talk about, and what I've realized, as I've been doing this, you get speed blind. If you watch too many of these guys at once, you're like, well, hold on. Do I like this guy better than this guy? Or wait, I watched this guy. Like, what was it him that I wrote about him that I liked his anchor? Or was it him that I wrote about that I liked his hand placement? And sometimes I think that sometimes just doing this professionally, doing it for your job, watching players and doing the evals and stuff, which is crazy to say is, that's our job now. I think that's, sometimes maybe less is more. so doing 40 guys a day is probably not the best. I know that you're having to do all the national out of state high school guys, and it's a little bit different, but
I mean, I found that my threshold is like about 90 minutes, and then I need to like go to the gym or take dog for a walk or do something different, and then eat lunch or do something, because you get more than, for me, 90 minutes, and you're like, all right, I'm starting to go blind. I need water. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But,
all right. So with all that, even as speed blind as you are, and even as bad as you need the Man Eye Institute, you think that Cameron Hall, the 4-star 2027 commit from last week, the defensive end. I don't even know if I call him a defensive end, man. This guy lines up all over the place. You and Ketchum love this guy. I've watched him, man. My initial thoughts on him were, big, long arms. You can tell when a guy gets down into his stance, if he, when he's down in his stance, if his hand is touching the ground when you're talking about a big boy like this, and he doesn't even necessarily have to have his shoulders lower than his butt, right, with his hand completely straight, with the whole hand down on the ground, that'll tell you something. You don't have to just look at the arms and see them coming down past the knees, right?
mm-hmm.
You can tell straight out of the stance. Long arms, long levered, high cut player, but pretty well developed through the lower. I love the way that whenever you watch this guy, for a 2027 guy, that he lines up outside, he lines up at the 5 technique, he lines up he lines up way out. He lines up wide, right? And he'll line up at 5 technique, he'll line up at 4 eye, 3 tech, even at nose. And you just see him and you're like, well, I wonder with Cameron Hall what he's eventually going to become as a player. And much like with Jamarian Carlton, how I just don't know what his body's going to grow up to. But what's so encouraging to me with Cameron Hall is when I watch him, I look at him technique-wise. I'm like, all right, if he is somebody that's going to have to be one of these guys that's more of an interior pass rush type of player, I can already kind of see the hand technique and the hip swivel and do you know what I mean? The different kinds of things that you're going to need to be able to win in those types of situations. And that was what was encouraging to me. I noticed that you said that he's not quite a Lance Jackson, but I think he's different than Lance Jackson.
No, that's what I said he was. I don't agree with you or Jason about the Carlton thing. I think Carlton's a much thicker, like he projects more.
What does Hall weigh? 260, I'm sure.
So no, he's listed at 235. His Twitter account says 250. Okay. And Jason wrote in the post, on my post, that he's told him last week he's 265. My problem is that when you look at him and you look at Carlton is much thicker due to rump, due to calves, and even carries a little bit more weight in the belly than does Hall. Hall to me is, I wouldn't quite call him an Adonis, but like if you compare the two, and I know Jackson has a couple, an inch and a half on him as far as height goes, but to me, it's a lot closer. When you're looking across the positions, it's a lot closer to a Lance Jackson, to where I see this guy can play 5, and this guy can play outside. I think he could even bump inside, but I'm not sure his body's going to allow him to get to 300, and it's going to be like this thicker 300. Like Lance will never be a thick 300. He might get there maybe eventually, maybe once he gets to the league. Hall, I don't think ever gets to 300. Carlton, I think I told you in San Antonio, I thought I could carry 350. That was it. Carlton we were talking about. I said I think you get to 315.
I don't think you ever invoked 315 for Carlton.
Was that other guy? It might have been the other guy that we were watching there. Yeah, that was that defensive tackle that went to I'm getting the guys mixed up. I think that's Zion, that defensive tackle, Zion Robinson maybe, or something like this. But anyway, the point is I think Carlton just carries his weight much differently than does Hall. I think Hall's much more of a guy that, he plays well in the run game, but he can really get after the quarterback better, I thought, than Carlton could. I think Carlton's long. I think this guy's longer. I think this guy's much more of a versatile piece than I think Carlton will be long term in the interior of the offensive line or on the edge of the offense on the defensive line. Sorry,
on the defensive line. And
yeah, I'm not like my idea of saying he lines up at all 5 positions isn't to box him and say he's an edge, but I think he's going to play D tackle. I think it's more of like this guy's versatile. And we said I think you invoked Hakeem Mesidor from Miami. Like we look at like a Ruben Bain, who NFL teams right now are saying, yeah, arm's too short, it's got to play inside, but he's a little bit smaller per se, but he's a lot thicker through the butt, and that's a guy that can play outside and inside, right? I don't know. I think there's a lot left. If he's really 260 in the film that I've seen, I haven't seen him obviously in person. That'd be a lot different. That's why I like doing that. But in the film we saw of him, if he's 265 there, that's a great 265, but I'm not sure he is.
Well, I was operating like the way that I think about him is kind of thinking like that. And obviously Messidor is not he's not a great comp. Messidor, as of this point, I believe at the combine, he's probably going to be about what Cameron Hall currently is, right? If he really is 265. Because what did Messidor
603 265?
Okay, but Messidor coming out of high school was, let's see,
Messidor coming out of high school is 6'1", 195.
195?
Yeah.
Oh well, that seems clearly wrong. But I figured maybe coming out he was probably 225, something like that. 195?
That can't be right.
No.
Why is this? Okay, no, I clicked on it, then I go back. So I don't know why the main Google thing said that from 247. It says that in high school he was. There's so many different weights on here. 6'3", 250, 6'3", 255, 6'3", 265. There's like 4 different weights on
maybe Messidor is a good comp. I said they're different players, but for some reason he kind of reminds me of Messidor. Just with the B gap penetration. Yeah. I think he's good at that.
I mean, his like I said, his arms are. I might be underselling him at 33.5 inches on his arms too.
So I mean, as far as what you and Ketchum were talking about, I mean,
I said George Karlaftis, by the way.
Do you think he's a 4-star now, 24/7 has him as a 3-star. To me, it seemed low. I mean, I hadn't even really watched him before. Like I said, I've been super busy. I hadn't even really watched him before your article today. And when I watched him, I'm like, oh gosh, like Texas picked up like one of these kind of blue chip kind of edge rush guys, but it doesn't feel like he's valued that way by the recruiting industrial complex.
And he's not. That's the problem. He's not. He's ranked numbers wise. He's 281st in the country on Rivals, 229th in the country on ESPN. Not ranked in the top 300 on 247. He's a 3-star, like we said, on 247. He's like the 27th, and 24th ranked edge rusher in the country. I'm just telling you right now. I went through right here. Where are we at here? Where's my last ranked edge? I've got 21 edges ranked, and he's 5th right now. Nationally? Yeah.
Who do you have ahead of him?
I have ahead of him the number 1 player in America, DJ Jacobs. Zyron Forstall from New Orleans, who's going to commit this. He was a Fong bombed to A&M just the other day. He's the number just ahead of him, number 6 ranked player in America. Chris Whitehead from Chesterfield, Virginia, and then Adriel Rojas from Georgia, who also has a Texas offer. That dude's kind of sick as well.
So are these your defensive ends or your edges?
Edge, and I signify like they're all called edge on 3, so they all come into my profile as edge, and then I signify. So like Cameron Hall, I put strong side defensive end. Andrew Rojas, strong side defensive end / edge. Whitehead's an edge. Forstall, I put edge / outside linebacker, and then DJ Jacobs, edge. So technically, if you said strong side defensive end, he'd be my number 2 strong side defensive end.
So, I mean,
he's a stud. I think he's borderline. Like he's, and And also, I understand what I'm trying to get across here with the Lance Jackson thing, where I said not quite Lance Jackson, but close, is that he's not quite the player that Lance was. He's not quite the player that Lance is. He's not quite as big as Lance, but he's severely underrated, just like Lance was. And the one thing that Ketch and I could agree on on Orange Buds right now, you guys can go over there and join the conversation about Cam Hall and Lance and Jamar and Carlton, the whole 9 yards, is that we both think he's going to get a major bump soon. And I just basically was like, yeah, just wait for April when he gets a 167 spot bump from, one of these national websites. And then everyone, oh, he's a top 70 player. Okay, now we'll have the conversation. I think that's what's going to end up happening by the end of this whole thing.
It's probably going to come with a nice little bump in the amount of NIL money that he's going to be asking for too once he sees that new ranking.